Good morning. No one's in here yet, so there's that. All right. Yeah, notifications are not going out. Oh, there they are. There they go. So we'll let you guys settle in here. All right. Get some people in here and we'll start talking about all the important stuff and probably some not important stuff. So there we go. Now we're getting some people in here. Cool. Yeah, YouTube's fickle. Like, I don't know it's because I've been live too many times or people just don't care or what. And I notice I notice the shorts. Those are all jacked up. YouTube's been pushing the shorts, right? Hey, promote your channel by using shorts. Hey, do your bloopers on the shorts. Yada yada yada. And I'll get a notification on another YouTuber on a short that they did, and then you look at the date. It was like done like 2 weeks ago. It's like, why am I just now getting notification? So, anyways, good morning. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. And so we'll get the phone set up here so I can see the chat in real time. If you guys notice, I took down one of the live feeds. I believe it was Friday. I cut it up into little pieces, and that's what I put out over the weekend. I might repost that live feed Friday for members only. I haven't decided yet. There's a lot of fumbling in the beginning. Then I kind of screwed something up, and then I think a W word was used. That Sage was like freaking out. So and look, I watched Sage go from 200 subscribers to he's close to 20,000 now. So he knows how to grow a channel. It's fun. It's fun to see somebody like that grow. I mean, whether you like Sage or not, you gotta respect the fact that he's built that channel up. He once asked me for advice on how to grow his YouTube channel. I gave it to him, and then he just went full force with it. There are personalities out there that once they get onto something, they get absorbed in it, and then that's kind of what you have to do if you want to succeed in something. Like trucking, for example. I'm amazed by how many people are willing to put $3 or $4 grand a month truck payment and not know anything about their industry. And to me, that's just and then so if you go back to Holland Assets podcast, which tells you how to get your own authority, that guy went out of CDL school and then got his own authority, and I think he said his insurance was 60 grand. I mean, can you imagine any other business that you would start that you would get 60 grand, plus the truck, plus the loan for the truck. So imagine making $100,000 investment and not know anything about the industry. That's like me opening a McDonald's or something. I don't know anything about running a McDonald's. I know how to cook burgers, but that doesn't make me a restaurant owner. So, and trucking is really guilty about that. I mean, trucking is one of, and what it is, and this is before we get in the spot market, and I'll go to the comments here in a second. That's the problem. That's look, leasing has its tools and uses, right? A lot of big banks will lease their buildings; they don't own them. A lot of warehouse, like Walmart, doesn't own the warehouse space. There's a real estate company that owns that. They just lease it. A lot of hot shots lease their vehicles, and so there is a tool for leasing. Unfortunately, though, there are people that will abuse that system, or not people, but corporations that will abuse the system. And so they want to sucker a driver that barely got a CDL. his or her CDL and put him in a lease truck and say, okay, now you're a business owner. That's like going to go work for the Denny's down the street, as a dishwasher or a cook. Then they like one day they go, hey, you want to own this place? Here you go. Here's the keys. By the way, you're going to pay us this fee and this fee and this fee and this fee to do this. But you got this. You know how to cook. You're all right. So, I mean, and so the predatory leasing is what I call that, where they take advantage of people that don't read their contracts. They take advantage of people that don't know the industry. They take advantage of that you just don't know any better. And the turnover rate on these bigger companies are high because they want you to be naive. They don't want you to, oh well, those rivets out of that trailer, that's not a big deal. Go ahead and run with it. And if you don't know anything about the industry, you might. You can PC to the next, customer. Don't worry about it because you just don't know. And that's what they want. The goal, one of the things, one of the goals of some predatory businesses is they want you to be ignorant so they can just put you in the debt and make you a slave. That it's as simple as that. Now, one can argue, well, if you get a truck from a bank and they loan you the money, well, now you're a slave to the bank. We're all slaves to debt in one way or another. But at least you have the control. At least if I have the note for the truck, no one can take that away except for the bank. And leasing has, like I saw Steve Berger pop in here. He leased a Snyder Finance truck. He did the 1-year lease, used it as a tool to get his own truck. Now he's on his second owned truck that he's gotten himself, and he's doing very well. That's how leases are done. But how long was Steve Berger driving before he got that first lease? Quite a while. He didn't just come out of CDL school. You got to learn. You got to learn your whole deal. Anyways, we're also on TikTok. Big Mac, he sent me a text, and it's a TikTok link, and I didn't recognize the number because I didn't have his business numbers saved. So I texted, who's this? And he's like, this is Mac. You're on TikTok. I'm like, what? So I clicked on it, and sure enough, there's the conversation I had with CDN. And that was, I didn't watch the whole thing, but, because I guess you can do longer TikToks. It's not just like 1 minute, flaunt your butt type videos. I guess there's other stuff too. So, if you're on TikTok and you see me on a TikTok, make sure you comment to that TikToker who I am so we can help build this channel. So, all right, let's do some shout outs. We've got a few people in here. Jerome, you're first. Good morning. What's up? Killians, good morning. Jason Kinney, good morning. Tennessee Trucking, hope you're doing well. Fate Trucking, good morning. Nomadic Brit, morning from a cold Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, they had a frost or freeze warning this morning, right? It's chilly here this morning. I mean, we had no freeze warnings or anything like that, but I'm wearing shorts still. I'm the guy that will wear a hoodie but still wear shorts. But as I've gotten thinner, I'm not as tolerant to the cold as I used to be. Less insulation. Nothing Woody is in the house. Something. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a minute. DIY Semi Trucking and More. Hello. DIY. He had a good live feed the other day. I want to say it was Friday, Thursday or Friday, and he went 4 hours, and I was on there for a little bit. Truckers Anonymous, what's up? Sterling, good morning. I never got a call from you, Sterling, so I hope you're doing all right. There's always free cheddar in a mousetrap. Yeah. When it comes to leasing, yep. There's always free cheddar in a mousetrap. I have a sneaking feeling I'm going to get screwed at this receiver. 7 a.m. appointment, still not in the door, and have another appointment in an hour at a different receiver. Yeah, you're screwed. That's the bad part about that multiple stop. I won't do multiple stops with grocery warehouses. Most of my multiple stops are done with equipment where they're happy and eager for the stuff, and they'll get you they'll get your stuff off their stuff off your trailer within 15-20 minutes. That's the way to do multiple stops in my world. Steve Berger, what's up, man? Been a while. Did you get your guitar picks, Steve? Did you get them? I've yet to see a video, so I maybe you didn't get them. Maybe my mail service sucks. Mr. Mallory, good morning. I hope you're doing well. I noticed that the hurricane went up to your area. That's why I did not book you. So we'll have to tackle that once I get out this live feed. This will not be a long live feed, by the way, guys. It will not be 2 or 3 or 4, 8 hours. I got work to do. We got a few trucks to worry about. Nothing when he's saying hi, Burger. Pale Rider TV, what's up? Oh, by the way, Pale Rider TV did a good live Friday. He talked about his lease deal. Now, that's why I don't like say all leases are bad, because that's a blanket statement. Blanket statements don't work in trucking for the most part. I mean, you could sit there and say always, avoid the snow, blah blah blah, whatever. But so Pale Rider is on his. He's been doing the same thing for what, 12, 13 years, right, Pale Rider? He's completed 3 leases over there where he was able to pay off the truck and sell it. And so he went over his numbers. Of course, when Pale Rider got this Pro Star, he got a lot of flack. He got a lot of flack from other YouTube channels, and saying that he was too old or whatever. So, and at first, I'll admit, Pale Rider, at first I was like, oh no, what are you doing? I thought we were going to be done with the leases because I thought he had other plans. But then, I called him. We had a good conversation. When he told me his numbers, I was like, oh, well, it's actually a good idea. So he literally got that truck, a 700,000 mile truck, for $32,000. I don't think you can do that yet. I don't think the equipment has dropped that down yet. Plus, he has the safety net of his carrier covering any big time repairs. And it's a 65-week lease at only $500 a week, which is, my first truck was $2,000 a month, so $500 a week. So I think he did good. So, and he's doing the same thing that he's done that's worked for him, that's helped him pay off. Because here's the thing, guys, and I'm speaking from experience here. Just because you have a paid off truck doesn't mean you got the golden goose. Just because you got a brand new 23, Cascadia, that's not the golden goose either. It's golden goose for somebody else, but not you. And paid off trucks are usually older and they require more maintenance. Last year, I didn't run that hard, and the truck still cost me $20,000. And because of how much it's sat, it's probably going to need some TLC here pretty soon. I mean, it's all safe and everything, but there's no telling what that older diesel and def's doing to it. I mean, I do need to run a couple of loads, but looking at my schedule, and it's becoming difficult, right? Because I have trucks to take care of. And I'm truly enjoying the dispatch. Yes, I'm dealing with brokers every day, and it can you can tend to bang your head on the table a few times, but at the same time, I enjoy serving the drivers that need me. So there's a servitude in that. Doing okay. Just been busy with the kids, trying to stay afloat in these weird times. And look, in Burger, I know that was one of your biggest concerns when you came out in the spot market, but it won't last. You know, what goes up must come down. What goes down must go up. Absolutely right there, Sterling. Well, staying busy with kids is a good thing. The important part is you're in a position where you can go home and you have the freedom and you work for a good carrier. That's the important part that Burger has. You did get them. That's all right, Burger. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot on your plate all the time. TBT, what's up, man? I slept hard, Snorelord, 700 miles ahead of me. Call me today when you're free. Sorry I didn't call you. Hey, no worries, man. No worries. You can ask. Well, you can probably ask Burger. I'm kind of a hard person to get a hold of sometimes. I know I sit there and say, well, call me anytime. Usually that's listening to my awesome voicemail, but then I'll either call you right back or whatever. But if I'm in the middle of trying to book trucks, I usually don't converse. Um, Even Jeff will call. I'll be like, "Hey Jeff, I got to book a truck, man. I'll talk to you later." Which I haven't really talked to him a whole lot this week. He's been doing the Halloween thing at the campgrounds, but I imagine he's probably prepping the camper for winter slumber, which is fine. That's why you haven't seen Jeff live too often. I got to run, man. Just want to say, hey, truck and trailer are in for maintenance, and I got a sick kid at home. I'll check you later. Man, you're dealing with sick kids a lot. Speaking of sleeping hard, man, you ever like wake up in your sleeper not remembering where you are? Like you have to think for a minute, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm in Kansas City. It's nice when you can sleep that hard, but then it also makes you go, man, someone could have broken the truck and I would have slept right through it. I know with the CPAP machine, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. All right, let's do some low board crap, shall we? Let's see what we got here. Now, Monday morning load board analytics tend to be a little bit off. So, on any low board. Oh, by the way, speaking of low boards, DAT just upped their rates again. When I first started in the spot market, the plan that I got for DAT was like $49. Now that same plan with a couple of little extra tools that make you feel special is like now close to $80 a month. But at least they didn't give you the notice that they were upping your um, subscription amount while the low bore was down. They've done that before. You're on hold with customer service as you get as you try to look for a load and there's nothing on there. So, anyways, we like to look at the 123 because it's got pretty good amount of tools. And look, have multiple sources. If you only rely on one low board and it goes down, which by the way, 123 low board has never gone down that I've ever seen. What are you going to do? Sage once asked the question. He calls me up. He likes to try out his concept for his next video on me. He likes to call me and tell me things and ask me things, and then he'll bring it up on the live feed. So one time he asked me, he goes, "What do you do if the DAT board's down?" I was like, I go to the 123 low board, or I go to DOFT, or I call my CH guy, or I look on Uber, or I look on Convoy, or Trucker Path has got a board. I mean, it's like I had all these things. I said, but the last 4 loads, I didn't even use a low board. And he's like, oh, because he's under the impression that someday that our infrastructure will be easy to take down, so trucking could be put to a halt because we rely heavily on the internet. And he's right. We do. I mean, look, I can run my whole business from my truck. Something that used to take phone calls and actual mailing of physical mail is now done, um, all online. You don't even have to show up your bank to get paid. So, anyways, always have multiple tools. That's the point of that story. And people are like, well, do you use 123 exclusively? No, I don't, because I'm an honest. I mean, yeah, I advertise for them, but they're not really a direct competitor. They're just another low board source. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that one's better than the other, because there are people that don't even, like, I don't use Truck Stop because I have all the other tools. I don't really need to add that income or add that cost to my revenue. So in these times, it gets kind of light, and that's why I wanted a code if I was going to do stuff with the 123 low board, because I have used it. Now, there was a couple of years where I didn't use it because I didn't need it, and I got, well, I'll leave that one alone. I got chastised by other people that I gave it up because the term, well, one load pays for it for the year. I'm like, yeah, but if I don't need something, just like I don't need Truck Stop, I don't have that. So, but it's a great low board, especially if you're beginning in the spot market, or if you want to see what it's like to look at the spot market, you can use it. Whereas that, you need the carrier's permission to have a DAT board subscription. So unless you get on somebody else's, then you can't post your truck or whatever. So anyways, we'll so 48065 with the 123 low board, and we'll bring that up here. Share screen. Boink. Boink. We'll do some more shout outs. Shannon, good morning. Glad to see you survive the night. Hopefully you're not all hopped up on energy drinks. It's one of the worst feelings is when you have to do an overnight and then you know, the old Steve would do the coffee energy drinks and chips, to help stay awake because you can't call anybody at 2 a.m. But once I got my sleep apnea treated and got off the carbs, you realize here's we're going to talk health for a second before we get into this low board. If you do the energy drinks to stay awake at night to do an overnight drive, you're actually making it worse because the sugar content is going to make you crash hard. And you're just going to have this strung out bad feeling. And I hate that feeling. Remember when you were younger before you became a truck driver and you went on a road trip, just how blah you felt because of all the food and crap you were eating? So the sugar's actually worse. So the best thing is if you eat right, vitamins and caffeine, and you're good to go. No sugar. Sugar actually makes you more tired. That is a fact. I live that. When I wake up, I just ask the wife where we are because we will be somewhere different. Oh yeah, you're teaming, right? So, are rising prices a predecessor of scarcity? Well, is what came first, the egg or the chicken? Um, they blame the rising prices of trucks and materials and all that on the scarcity that was already there because of the vid. So I think we're just continuing that. So just depends on what you're talking about. They raise the prices on diesel. Is there a scarcity on diesel? Well, there should be if there shouldn't be if we're going to electric trucks or whatever. Shannon says, "Good morning, everyone. I did not get Yeah, the notifications aren't going out. If they are, they're going out slowly. Everybody's saying hi to each other. T-Bone, good morning. Good to see you. Tyrannus, what's up? Sage, hey now. I'm using low boards as a last resort lately. Look, DIY had a good video. His numbers were really good last week. I believe the live feed it was my best week and worst week at the same time. And that's how it is. That's how it is being an owner operator. It's almost like a schizophrenic or bipolar existence. Like you really have to absorb the highs and lows. You really have to gratitude comes in and helps you. Well, I blew my turbo this week, but I made 10 grand this week, out of some flukes or whatever, or, I got the loads put together, so you kind of, and that's usually how it works. You get that extra boost of income and the truck goes, hey, by the way, I'm going to take that. Thank you very much. No energy drinks. I power through it with ninja skills. There you go. Ninja skills work. Cool trucking. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good. Everybody's saying hi. Do what Shannon says. Hit the like button. If I'm annoying you, hit the thumbs down video twice so I know that you clicked it. I got notification was tied up. Well, not literally. Well, good. I'm glad you weren't literally tied up. I say you might have bigger problems than to figure out what I'm going to show you in 1, 2, 3. I ordered an egg and a chicken from Amazon. I'll let you know what happens. LVC, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Big Rig CO with his wisdom. I have no highs, no lows, just steady trucking. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. You have, it's a, sometimes you have victories in battle and sometimes you got to take your wounds and move on to the next thing. So, but a lot of positive response with Big Rig CO, joining the channel a few times. So everybody go check out his channel. And he's got some great content. He runs Reefer, his own authority, has the second truck, and the contractor. And things are going well for him. It's almost hunting season. Right, Big Rig? Low boards say, all say doom and gloom. I call BS. I got some good rates per mile last week. The hurricane definitely changes dynamics. Give me a second. All right, I had to say bye to the young one. So it's only doom and gloom if you don't have a strong foundation. There's a lot of damage in Florida right now. There's going to be a lot of freight going into Florida right now. And they're going to have to raise the rates to get trucks down there. I mean, the devastation of Hurricane Ian was pretty big. I mean, I was actually surprised they were able to have the football game last night that the Chiefs won, and they're in Tampa. If you're a football person, but if you're sitting there with high expenses, it will be doom and gloom. But if you've managed your business and you've created a strong foundation, then it's not doom and gloom. It's just another storm that we're that we're surviving, right? And focus on rate per day and rate per mile both to kind of keep track of what you're doing and make sure your costs stay below that. And you should be adding your home expenses to your costs so you know how much, or your salary, so you know how much you can get away with. So you don't go out and buy the latest, greatest things and then suddenly wake up one day and you can't afford it. And that's just business, right? And it's that's a part of whether you own a restaurant, a McDonald's, a bakery, a hardware store, whether it's online or brick and mortar, you're going to have uptimes, you're going to have downtimes. For example, if you own a record store, you might be slow for a minute, but then, the new Metallica comes out or some popular band comes out. Now you're going to sell like hotcakes. And so if you have 1 month of high revenue and the next month of no revenue or very little revenue, you got to find out how to make that consistent. So if you're in a situation where you have some control over your business, like, imagine, and this is why I don't agree with forced dispatched lease deals. Like, Schneider Finance, you can choose your loads. You are the master of your destiny. Okay. But if you're dispatched from a company dispatcher and you're making a truck payment, to me, that could be difficult because that's like someone sitting at the door and saying, well, I'm only letting 100 people in today. With that being said, then the next day, well, we're going to let 300 people come in. And then the next day, well, I'm only doing 50. You ticked me off. Imagine that, right? So if you're in a situation like that, how do you overcome that? So if you are forced dispatch or you're dispatched from your company, get along with your dispatcher. Know how to schmooze a little bit. Be a good person to talk to. You know, a, a, a Starbucks coffee, gift card can go a long way. That's what I did. There's only one dispatcher in the 6 years that I was driving that I had an issue with. And it was mainly because he didn't know what he was doing. But I didn't tell him that. I was like, you're an idiot. I never did that. I was just like, well, I've been in this customer before. This is what we're dealing with. You should probably listen to what I'm telling you because this is how it's going to go. And then that didn't work out. And eventually I was right. And that would make him resentful. That was the only time. But I didn't sit there and tell him I was right. I just was like, hey, man, this is how it's going. You're new here. Let me educate you. But still, if the low planner, I was on his good terms. So I never suffered mileage wise. Yeah, Big Rig and I had a nickname for him, Oatmeal. It's you got a lot of competition in this field. You've got the Schneiders and JB Hunts, and then you've got Joe Schmo down the street with his hood duct tape all together. So you got to find your niche, you got to find your groove, and you got to stay in it, and that's what Big Rig has done. It amazes me how many people are on Facebook and gripe about brokers. I mean, there are people that will actually get almost violent about it, like, "Oh, brokers are ripping us off. We need transparency." They're lying thieves. Okay? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? If a lying thief came up to me and said, "Hey man, Steve, why don't we open a hardware store together? Why don't we do that?" I would go, "No, thank you." So here's the thing. If you absolutely hate dealing with brokers, then why are you in a position to deal with brokers? It is as simple as that. If you hate the trucking company that you're with, why don't you leave? There are more that will hire you, especially if the company's ripping you off. It's as simple as that. Why would you look? When I was at Landstar, I didn't know the broker agent game. And then I quickly figured out that it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I soldiered through it, but I realized I was having trouble getting consistency, which is what I craved. So when I went to Schneider, I got that consistency, and the lady at Schneider during my interview said, "Why do you want to come to Schneider from Landstar?" I said, "Well, because I'm tired of dealing with the agents and brokers." And she goes, "Yeah, we get that a lot." So I took them out of the equation. Now, with that, I had other issues to deal with Schneider. Schneider wasn't perfect. They were good, but they weren't perfect. They had their little, like, box moves and dealing with overnight, you know, and weekend support, and they also had bad load numbers. They also had canceled loads. I mean, the same stuff that you get in at Landstar, but yet I was only dealing with one company. So when I decided to come out in the spot market, I knew what I was getting into. And so I was very careful not to have this "they're the enemy" mentality, because look, if you call somebody with "you're the enemy" mentality, a smart person's going to detect that. If you call a broker and go, "Hey, all right, let's get this over with. Calling on this load that you got posted. It better be right. I don't know why you didn't put the information on, but what's the details?" Oh, that's a low rate. I can't do that. The dude's going to look at his phone and hang up on you, right? And look, when you call 30 different people for one load, it's hard to be nice on the phone at that point. At that point, you're frustrated. At that point, it's but you know what? To that 30th person, you are there. That's the first time they're talking to you. And they don't care. They don't know that you've called 29 other people. They don't care that you're trying to get $3 a mile coming out of Jacksonville, Florida. They don't care. They just, their job is to move a load, and your job is to see how high you can get it, and if it suits your needs, and if it doesn't, move on. But this whole "they're the enemy," I mean, I don't like working with brokers that think that we're the enemy. And you can tell those too. They call very short with their answers. They won't negotiate with you at all. Or they'll tell you stuff like, and look, some people have good negotiating skills, and I'm talking about brokers here. Some brokers have good negotiating skills and some don't. When they say stuff like, "Well, we move these every day for $1 a mile," that's their negotiating tactic. That's no different than you're going, "Well, I move these all the time for another carrier or another broker for 1800." And then when they say, "That's all I got in it," that's a negotiating tactic. And then you go, that's no different than when you say, as a driver, no, that's below my cost. I can't do that. It's the same thing, even though it may not be. If you're wanting $3 a mile for something that's paying $2 and your costs are $1.80, aren't you lying to the broker? And I'm not defending brokers. I'm just saying that if you don't like dealing with them, then why deal with them? If your neighbor across the street is an a-hole, do you go over there and hang out with them? Do you go over there and try to do business with them? No. You avoid that person. So why the hell, if you hate brokers, would you be in the spot market game? Well, I could do click and goes. Well, okay, click and goes, that's great. Well, now you're at the mercy of click and goes, which, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. And so we all have to fib a little bit when it comes to negotiating. You know, for example, if you go to a yard sale and you see something like, oh man, this is man, I've been wanting this. I've been looking forever for one of these. I saw this on eBay for like $80,000. You're gonna go up to the guy, hey man, I'll give you $5 for this. And you got to act all nonchalant, like it doesn't matter, right? And the guy's like, okay, I'll take 5 for it, because he doesn't know what he has. You don't sit there and like, oh my gosh, this is worth 80 grand. How much for it? You don't do that, do you? No, you lie a little bit. You put this facade. You put this little, hey man, um, I kind of like this. How much you paying this? How much you selling this for? So yes, negotiating tactics, there is a little bit of fibbing in there. And you got to realize that some brokers have a lot of pressure on them to move a load. They might have a boss that says, do not go below X amount without my approval. And maybe they're a-holes, so they don't want to even call them for their approval. So, supply and demand. If you're in a market with a lot of demand, you're going to have an easier time booking a load than, say, I don't know, Denver coming out. If there's a big snowstorm, that broker will pay anything to get into Denver. And if he won't, don't deal with them. Everything in life is simple. People make things complicated. Absolutely. I've been talking about this for a long time. I simplify. I had dinner with Chuck, Charles Anderson, GNC Family Trucking, and his wife Saturday, and we talked for hours. And I talked about how I just simplify everything because, look, I'm not a scholar. I'm not Einstein. I don't know what my AQ is. I've never tested it, but I need things simplified for me. Some people complain that's what they do. Some people aren't happy no matter what they do. That's absolutely true, TBT. A lot of brokers are okay, but we all know the lack of integrity in the broker world. There's a lack of integrity in all business, Cool Trucking. All business. Why do you think turnover rate's so high in our industry? Because there is no integrity for the most part. There's always something. That's the thing. If you're expecting business to have ethics and morals, then that's like going into a lion cage and hoping that they don't eat you because they're cute cats. I mean, come on, man. And and so can you have a business and have ethics and morals? Absolutely. But just know that not a lot of people live and die by those words. Well, there you go. TV just confirmed what I said. I deal in facts. Opinions are like, yep. Eel scallywags for a chance. Yeah, man, with both feet. How's it going? I have 11 hours detention time on this load. We'll see how GIX Logistics does. Keep on them. Keep on them. WBF. Let's see. Cool Trucking gets pays, but it takes about 4 days to get approved and get the rate con. So, yeah, you just got to keep on them. There you go. DIY helping. DIY, look, DIY is a person that wants to help. He puts the information out there. I watched his, he's been doing these finance videos, other ways to make income in these hard times. Big Houston, good morning. Sterling, screaming for transparency is projection of poor business practice. It's an emotional response when trucking don't care about your feelings. I don't think firemen love fires, but they're still in the fire business, right? That's a good point. But they take a lot of safety precautions to deal with those fires because they know what they're getting into, right? They know what they're getting into. And so that in Trucker's Table, he likes to go against me. He doesn't like me, which is fine. But you know, but at least the fireman comes prepared. They know what they're getting into. They know what they have to deal with. And then they have the reward of rescuing and making a difference in people's lives. That's the difference. So you're that's not even a fair analogy or comparison. Because there's a lot of people that don't love trucking but that are truck drivers. Because, they have to. Because they don't know anything else. When in doubt, blame DIY. I end every conversation with "That's all I got in it," and then I walk away. What's the over under on how long truckers culture lasts? Who cares? Why are we obsessed with that man? Really? I don't understand it. Yes, because of his name, he's got this higher, expectation. But if that person doesn't meet your expectations, then why even bother with it? Truckers Coach is a great YouTuber. And here's why I say that, because he knows how to get everybody in his name in everybody's mouth. He knows how to get everybody talking about him. He knows how to get whatever company he's at for the 3 months that he's at to everybody talk about that company and bring attention to that company. That is what he is paid to do, and he does that well. We weren't even talking about Truckers Coach. I don't even care what company he's at, but yet here we are talking about it. That is power. To have someone live rent free in your head, that is power. So I wish everybody would just, if you don't like the guy, don't watch him. Just like if you don't like me, don't watch me. If you do like me, then, give me a thumbs up. And look, I'm not defending Coach. I've gone head to head with him. He's created drama with my carrier and stuff that I know, but I don't talk about him because I really just don't give a shit. It's that simple. Let's simplify this. Who cares? Watership down. I must be a leper or something. The Allingtons have never invited my wife and I to dinner. We're trying to get the house cleaned up. Bull of Woods, what's up? Original Outcast. Did he do a video this morning? What's not true? What's not true at Trucker's Table? Everybody's talking to each other. I gave you a shout out in video I'm releasing this week. Thank you, Trucker's Table. Sometimes I get the impression that that you don't like me. Fireman Leo and others develop the ability to see what could happen and be able to respond to multiple situations. Right. Look, dealing with brokers can be a pain in the butt. It's as simple as that, right? And yes, they do lie, and you got to be able to detect, right? But truckers lie too. There are plenty of drivers say, "Yeah, I can get that done on time," and they don't. Oh, I got a flat tire. How many of you gotten rate cons that say must have repair receipts if you lose delivery time? Why? Because drivers lie. I know several drivers personally that entered the spot market and literally would do that just to book that load. They would lie about a tire repair. They would lie about breaking down because they knew that they couldn't do that load, but they had to have it. So we do the same thing. There's look, it's business. That's how it goes. And if you follow bad business practices, it's eventually going to catch up with you. It's as simple as that. That's going to be my new coin phrase. It's as simple as that. And experience is important. Now, if you're, fresh out of CDL school running the spot market, it's going to be very tough for you because you won't be able to detect the BS. Your BS detector is broken and it needs to be strengthened up. So guess what? How do you strengthen something? Multiple failures require you, create strength. Through struggle, we become stronger. So 5 years from now, you're going to be able to, your BS detector is going to go through the roof. And that's where I'm at. And if you deal with a broker that's got bad business practice, then don't deal with them ever again. That's the beauty of the spot market. Hey, that broker right there was BS. So I'm never going to call them on a load. Even if I'm desperate, I'll deadhead out of this spot to not do their load. That's the choice you have. And that's the thing with the spot market. Some people, a lot of people can't handle the freedom that you now have. Well, but again, he's just doing his job. Nevada, what's up? Everybody give me a thumbs up. I know we're friends, Trucker Table. Although, you wouldn't let me pet your dog. Learn to get your own customers, broker problem solve. Right. And look, that's and look, if you have trouble, I'm gonna say this, okay? If you have trouble negotiating and dealing with brokers, then it's the same exact skill set you're going to need to go into a customer and say, hey, let me move this rate for you. So we don't have to deal with that guy over there. It's the same skill set. Negotiating is negotiating, whether you're at a yard sale, negotiating for a house, negotiating for a car, negotiating to do a load. It's all the same. LVC. LVC with the comic relief. Tell DIY to get together and get your truck to you We know it's okay. You guys are having a conversation within a conversation. Hey, I never lie about breakdowns. That's just sure jinx. I lie about traffic. but look, we have a thing in our contract here at Like Trucking that if you knowingly book a load that you can't legally do, then you get fined because we don't. Because here's what happens when you're a small carrier, 1 truck, 2 truck, 10 truck. Every time you burn a broker bridge, man, it hurts, especially if that's all you're relying on. If I annoy my one of my main broker contacts, that's one less resource I have. So it's and look, lies are on both sides. If I have to cancel a load because of a breakdown or because another load canceled, it's tough to make that call. And my biggest concern is that hopefully they don't think I'm lying, so we burn this bridge because I don't want to burn the bridge because burning bridges, I know what burning bridges does. It takes away your ability to do things. Probably won't be here when you come back because I gotta end this feed. I hardly run spot. Thoughts on calling shipper and receiver when you book a load to verify pick up a delivery? I see guys getting screwed by the wrong info on the rate con frequently. So with both feet, that's a good question. Excellent question. Let me go over that. So as long as I've been doing this game, I know what let's use Dollar General, right? I know what a Dollar General delivery number looks like. So a lot of times, depending on now, if I'm using the same broker that 99% has the right info, I won't verify. I have my faith in that person. But if it's some new Joe Schmo broker I've never dealt with, and I don't see the correct numbers that I think I need to be seeing on the Raycon, I will verify. And so, as a new person, yes, that is important to do that. Now, some brokers will tell you that you're not allowed to call the shipper or receiver directly to verify numbers because they're afraid you're going to make another appointment. But then sometimes you have to, reset an appointment, or you get there and there is no appointment. And then some shippers and receivers are hard to get a hold of. So it's kind of a moving target. But yes, if you can verify as much as you can, that's the best thing to do. And I've been screwed because when I was at Landstar, I had a Landstar agent. We booked two Landstar trucks. We're doing the same load, going to Dollar General in Ardmore. He showed up literally. He was in line about 10 minutes ahead of me. And because he checked in first and we only had between the two of us one good delivery number, they took him and I had to wait. And that cost me a day and a half. It could have cost me a week, but it only cost me a day and a half. I think I tried delivering Tuesday afternoon. I finally got it off Thursday morning. I did not verify that number. And that's when I realized, because the number looked good, the number was good for the other driver. So if I would have called it, it said, yeah, your appointment's at, 3:00 for Thursday or Tuesday, I would have been like, cool. Not knowing that there was only one good number. So knowing your customers is important. Knowing the brokers that you're dealing with. That's why the relationships matter. And the more scatterbrained you work on the spot market, the more stressful it is. I booked the load Saturday. I have a truck coming out of Seattle for Monday. He needed a specific time, specific place, and a specific thing. And so I'm constantly looking at the load board, and then I saw that my broker had something. So I texted him on a Saturday on his personal phone. He made it happen. I didn't even negotiate up because, number one, I know that the person that had to approve that wasn't working. but it was an okay rate, so we did it. That and so now I have one less truck to book today. So that's the important part. That's what I serve for the drivers that I dispatch. Is I have these connections, I have these relationships. I know it's a broker shop, but see it. Yeah, I mean, look, if you can double check people's work, the better, right? I guess I'm different than most. I go out of my way to uphold my integrity, probably to my own determination. It costs me money, and look, that's one of the biggest fallacies of life. Is you expect people to is a person expects people to be like you, like yourself, not you, culture, but like yourself. I treat people with respect. I treat people with integrity. I expect the same in return, but it doesn't happen. And that's that, so I have low expectations, and I go into a new relationship with business or friends, cautiously, because I know people don't do what they're supposed to do or what they should be doing because they're morally good people. If only morally good people own guns, you wouldn't have gun violence now, would you? Always read the Raycon, double check everything, my opinion. Yep. I'm going to be putting a video out within a week called Calling Out Landstar's latest new rule that's going to push away BCOs. It cuts into our money, and I'm not happy about it. What new rule is that? Yeah, I'll be curious. When you put that out, send it to me on Messenger so I can watch it. Yeah, you sleep better at night. For some, that's where. Look, there are dispatch services they're promising you like $9,000 to $10,000 a week dry van, or 12,000. There was one that's promising 12,000. Right. Unless they have direct customers, that ain't happening. Not consistently. You might do that for a week, but not in these times. So that's a false promise. They got your $1,500. They don't care. And that's how much some are charging, by the way. See you. Good morning, Steve. I'm late. Thanks for sharing your musical talent Saturday night. You're welcome. It was fun. I only do that once a month or so because I'm a pretty limited guitar player. So I mean, if you've seen me play once, you've seen me play. It's not like I'm going to bust out in something new that makes you go, "Oh wow, I didn't know he could do that." It's just for fun. Get away from this trucking stuff. Integrity is everything to me, and that's and Nomadic Brit definitely lives by that. But a lot of people in his life don't, and that's it's sad when that happens. It really is. Hey Pam, what's up? Speaking of integrity, good morning, CDN. CDN is on that TikTok video that I was talking about earlier. Whatever happened to looking people in the eye and a handshake is your bond? I'm just too old school. Well, that's true, but I also hear horror stories of in the old school trucking of drivers keeping loads hostage till the broker paid. So I mean, look, one of the biggest things that I learned is just because someone drives a truck doesn't mean they're honest. Doesn't mean they're a good person. And I think that us old school people are a lot more expectant of that. In other words, we came from a time where, that was, we were the knights of the road. But the reality is that we are looked down on back then as much, if not, well, probably not as much now. I mean, not more than now. I mean, more, a lot of people, I mean, and look, you see the actions of truck drivers and it's easy to look down on us. But, an eye and a hand, looking in the eye and a handshake, you can still lie. You could be a weasel and do that. I've shaken the hands of many people that have burned me later. So that means nothing. Transportation logistics has a lot of moving parts. Always take a few minutes to review rate con. Errors from shipper or broker happen. Dirty hands give me a clean conscience. There you go. What is integrity to all of you? That's a good question. But anyways, guys, we are going to end this feed. I got stuff to do. We never did go over the low board. There's all the trailers. Let's do van real quick. 48065 for the code. And be careful. You're going to see some high PM freight go to Florida on all platforms. Just know that you ain't going to get out. So make sure it's good enough money to deadhead out. And what it's going to do, it's going to soften Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and probably Alabama's already soft, but it's going to soften these. The fact that Mississippi went red, usually it's yellow or green. Let's look at reefer. There's your reefer states. And then let's look at flatbed and step deck. Those are your highest demand states there. So look at Colorado and Utah waking up there with that. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay in the green states if you want easier time booking. Doesn't mean you're going to get a good rate. It's all supply and demand. Let's do a couple more comments and then we'll get out of here. Integrity to me is doing the right thing when no one is looking. There you go. That's an excellent, simplistic, simple definition, and that's doing the right thing when you know nobody is watching. And that's where we use the term sleep at night. There was a couple of trucks that wanted me to dispatch them, and I wouldn't do it because I know that I would just be taking their money and they would go out of business because their business is failing. Or, they didn't realize that their numbers weren't right. So I can't sleep at night if I just take people's money for no reason. I'm not that guy. I feel bad when people give me super chats. I feel guilty because I'm doing this anyways, right? Thanks, Steve. Have a great day. God bless. There you go with both feet. Thank you. Integrity is holding true to your word. Southeast, baby. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what you're gonna say about Landstar. My name is still legendary there with some of the Landstar recruiters. So because they know my take on it. But Steve, now that's integrity. Yeah, and look, if I don't dispatch enough trucks, I got to get back on my own, which is fine. I still love trucking. But I also like my home life. I've developed routines here. I've become a good foundation for a lot of people. For me being at home, Jeff likes me having at home, or likes having me at home. Can't talk. Hey, one of my trucks said, "Hey, my biggest fear is you got to get back on the road." I said, "No, we'll take care of you if I got to get back on the road. It's no big deal. Be all right." Integrity has a cost, so does being a dirtbag. Pick where you put your effort. That's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. So, Max Forrest, you're late, but thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Look, take everything that I say with a grain of salt because it's just it's just my opinion. Just from experiences I've had, and if anything I've said to you today has made you angry, figure out where the anger comes from. And if I offended you, I truly apologize, but that's the world we live in. So, with that being said, thanks for watching. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow, and we'll see you again next time. Peace.